Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. Today I've got a set of tiny, cool looking earbuds which were designed to be used both for sports and sleep. And since we know that recovery is an essential part of improving our physical performance, focusing on these two seemingly unrelated areas is not even as strange of a marketing idea as you might think at first. But let's see the details of the Mifo S noise cancelling earbuds right after the intro. When it comes to sport earbuds, what are the main requirements from a design point of view? Well, snug fit, low weight and some sort of an IP rating are that come to my mind at first. And what would you want your sleeping earbuds to be like? Again, tiny, low profile with a probably comfortable fit. Now the good news is that the unusual design of the Mifo S can meet almost all of these criteria. First, we get an IP67 rating, which means that the earbuds are dust and waterproof. That feature can come in handy during sweat-heavy workouts and outdoor use. The Mifo S are also very tiny and they weigh in at a mere 3.6 grams each, which can be beneficial for both training and sleeping. And due to their small size, long-term comfort is great as well. So far so good. But as far as their fit goes, I ran into some problems. The Mifo S comes with these integrated ear fins or wings, which are supposed to give you a secure fit in your ears. However, the fins are not made from a soft and flexible material such as silicone or rubber, as on most other sport earbuds, but instead the whole body is a single piece of hard plastic. For example, the Beats Fit Pro comes with integrated fins, but at least those fins are flexible and somewhat soft, and the Sennheiser Sport True wireless earbuds or the JBL Reflect Flow Pro come with multiple sets of replaceable fins. With the Mifo S we get no adapters of any kind either, so there are no options to play around with different shapes and sizes. These molded fins either fit your ears or they don't. And of course these buds don't fit in my ears that well. Regardless of which ear tips I used, I was never 100% happy with the fit of the buds. When it comes to running, for example, I always need a little bit of playing around with the buds before I can find a position where they can settle in and stay put for the rest of my run. And while the buds never fell off, they would always get a bit loose during exercise. It is not always an issue though, as the extra awareness we can gain from the lack of passive isolation can be a good thing when running outside, but in a gym scenario it might become a problem. And strangely enough, the buds would actually move and get in a proper position in my ears when I lay down or bend over. And in an instant, the passive isolation improves and so does the bass response. And of course the same might happen if you use the earbuds in bed. And here comes the sleeping part of the story. The Mifo S has a dedicated sleep mode, which you can activate when you are not connected to any source device. The active noise cancelling will remain, well, active, helping you fall asleep. I personally can hardly imagine sleeping with any earbuds, but these guys have such a low profile that they can be a good fit for that purpose, even if you tend to sleep on your side. Onto the battery case, it has a unique design similar to the buds themselves. Some might find it a bit over the top, but there are other colors available. First, I found it a bit strange myself too, but it kind of grows on you. And the case does not only look cool and unique, but it's also very solidly built. It feels like it was made from aluminium, or at least the outer shell has a metallic feel to it. It's also quite hefty, but it's compact enough to be carried around in a not too tight pocket. There is a button on the front, which pops the lid open, which is a cool feature, but the hinge is quite loose, so the lid will be flapping around a lot. It won't close accidentally, so that's a good thing, but this flapping action can be a bit annoying at times. Moving on to battery life, the buds can last up to 7 hours on a single charge. Well, that's what you can find in the official specs. During my own tests, where I used the ANC codec on iOS while streaming high-res music from QOBUZ at around 50% volume, and the noise cancelling was set to strong, I only managed to get 4 hours and 10 minutes out of the buds. You can recharge the earbuds 6 times using the case, which makes the total playtime around 29 hours in this scenario. But considering how compact the package is, it's not too bad of a performance, but having no wireless charging support made me raise my eyebrows a little. For around €140 or dollars, this feature is a must-have in 2022. But all we got is a USB Type-C charging port on the back of the case, and in a typical Mifo fashion, a neon green flat charging cable in the box. Next up is connection. The Mifo S comes with Bluetooth version 5.2 and it supports the AAC and the SBC audio codecs only, so no aptX, no LDAC or no LHDC. I found the connection stable, I had no signal dropouts at all, and pairing was always quick and easy regardless of whether I used an Android or an iOS device. Latency is low enough for movies by default, but there is a low latency mode which can cut down on the lag even further if you want to do some serious gaming with the earbuds. We get single bud mode which allows us to use each of the earbuds on their own, independently from the other. There is no multi-point use support, but another handy feature is that the earbuds will turn off 10 minutes after not getting a signal, so you don't need to worry about the batteries being drained in case you forgot to turn them off. That's unless you activate the sleeping mode, of course, in which case the buds and the ANC stay on as long as the battery lasts. We get 6 microphones on the 2 buds in total, so you can expect good clarity during phone calls in a quiet room. Turning on some background chatter on the speakers in front of me activates the environmental noise cancelling, which does a good job at filtering out ambient noises while keeping my voice easy to understand. And in my final test, let's see how the bot can deal with a combination of traffic noise and some loud breeze outdoors. Onto the controls, playback, volume, tracks, ambient modes and phone calls can all be controlled by using the touch-sensitive interface on each bud. There is one feature missing from this list, and that's activating the voice assistant of your source device, which some of you might find a major omission, but if you are someone like me, you won't even notice the lack of it. The touch controls register touches quite accurately, and response times are better than average. There is no automatic play and pause due to the missing smart sensors on the buds, and there is no smartphone app either. And since there is no app, you can only toggle through the 3 different ambient modes using the touch controls on the buds themselves. There is a mild noise cancellation, a strong noise cancellation, and a transparency mode. In transparency mode, we get a decent amount of ambient noise, but nothing is overly harsh or digital. It also has less white noise than, let's say, the Beats Fit Pro, which sounds a touch more intense in pass-through mode. And in terms of active noise cancelling performance, the Beats Fit Pro can do a significantly better job across the board. Traffic noise, AC noise, vents, human voices, so basically all sorts of noises get blocked out more efficiently by the Beats. But I could mention the JBL Reflect Flow Pro or the Jabra Elite 7 active earbuds here as well. They all do a better job when it comes to active noise cancelling. I know these buds cost a bit more than the Mifo S, but still, considering their price, the Mifo S buds deliver a below average ANC performance. As I mentioned before, I couldn't get a perfect fit with the Mifo buds, and that definitely has an effect on their ANC performance, but this was my experience regardless. With that said, your mileage might vary, of course. The one thing that is worth mentioning is how well the Mifo S buds can handle wind noise in all modes. Especially in transparency mode, where there is no sign of that harsh whooshing sound you usually get with even the best sport earbuds, such as the ones I mentioned before. Moving on to their sound quality, the Mifo S buds have full-range balanced armature drivers, which can deliver a lean, punchy and snappy bass. Extension is a bit lacking, but at least in part, the less than ideal fit might be responsible for that. We get an unusually forward mid-range, which I normally like, especially when vocals step in the spotlight, but in this case Mifo might have overcooked it a little, as things tend to get a bit shouty at times, especially at full volume. I would usually not recommend doing that, but since the maximum volume does not reach ear-damaging levels and the passive isolation is not the best either, I found myself using it more often than not. So the mid-range is intense and the treble is turned up a notch too. We get a great deal of detail in the higher octaves, but ear fatigue might be something you will experience in the long run due to the energetic and shrilling highs. The soundstage is wide and open, with excellent separation between the instruments, but the imaging is not so laser focused, as everything is a bit spread across the stage, if that makes sense. In comparison to the Sennheiser Sport Earbuds, the Mifo S have a more open and forward mid-range, with better extension in the treble. The bass is a bit snappier too. The Beats Fit Pro has a similar bass impact, but it lacks the energy of the Mifo S in both the mids and the highs. The JBL Reflect Flow Pro has a more balanced sound overall, with a much higher maximum volume than the Mifo S. And again, even if the lean and snappy bass is one of the highlights of the Mifo S in general, it can disappear in a heartbeat if the buds get loose in your ears when you start exercising. All the other buds offer some sort of an EQ option as well, which due to the lack of a smartphone app is missing from the Mifo S. And before I wrap things up, you have to know that I got the Mifo S earbuds from the manufacturer for this test, but I do not get paid for doing this review, and all you get is my honest and unfiltered opinion. And speaking of honesty, I have to tell you that I've been putting off this review for a while now, as I wasn't quite happy with the fit of the buds. I was so disappointed at first that I didn't even want to do this review at all. You know, one would expect sport earbuds to stay put during any activity. And while it's not quite the case in my ears, I managed to do workouts with the buds, and when I gave the buds to my fiancée, she was more than happy to use them. She has smaller ears and the buds won't even budge during her workouts. So the conclusion is the same as always. Our ears are different, so the same earbuds might deliver completely different results. But regardless of our ears, the design of the buds is definitely unique, the build quality is premium, the touch controls work well, and the sound of the buds can be quite enjoyable too, unless you are sensitive to boosted higher frequencies. The active noise cancelling and the single charge playtime are both mediocre, and there are some missing features such as wireless charging or app support, both of which are kind of a must-have in the category these days. You can get the Mifo buds for around $140 or 150 euros. And around that price point you can find great sport earbuds from Sennheiser, Jabra or JBL, so the competition is fierce, and I'm not convinced if I can recommend the Mifo buds over any of their direct competitors. Well, it's smaller and lighter than any of its rivals, and their design is more fresh too, so I have to give that one to Mifo. And maybe thanks to the transparency mode, their excellent wind noise performance and their small size, the Mifo S buds can be a perfect running companion for those with smaller ears. And the same goes for people who'd like to use their earbuds in bed as a sleeping aid. So if you belong in this rather small group of people, the Mifo S could be the earbuds you've been waiting for. But other than that, you might want to look at other options on the market because there are plenty good ones to choose from. But if you can get them for around or under $100 or euros, that would be a much better value, so go check out the links in the description as you might find some good deals online. And this was my review of the Mifo S Sports and Sleep Earbuds. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Let me know if you have any questions in the comment section. Thanks for watching, see you next time.